What does it take to make a pulse oximeter? This project from a couple of years ago had some surprising challenges. After seeing a pulse oximeter for the first time, I was curious about how these devices work and did a bit of research. Without going into too much detail, they use a combination of red and infrared light sources and measure the difference between the reflectance of both wavelengths. There's a lot of information available online, but I also found that there are sensor modules that are very cheap and are available as breakout boards. This is the MAX30102 based module. It contains all of the electronics required for signal processing and ambient light rejection, providing the data through a simple I2C interface. These have good library support for the Arduino environment, and there's a lot of sample code available to get you going. So, it looks like a good project to play around with. With a bit of 3D printing and some programming, it should be a nice easy one. Or so I thought, but it turns out there is a design fault with this board, which I discovered after being plagued with issues losing I2C communication. The LEDs require a stable 1.8 volt power supply that is provided by this LDO regulator. This is the 3.3 volt regulator that powers the MAX30102 and also provides the correct voltage for the pull-up resistors. And this is where the problem lies. These are the 3 pull-up resistors, and it's quite clear that they are connecting to the 1.8 volt regulator, not the 3.3 volt one. The easiest solution I could come up with was to desolder the 3 pull-up resistors, then use external ones going to the 3.3 volt power rail of the ESP32. I did a bit of research and found that a lot of people cut the track to the LDO, then bridge the pull-ups to the 3.3 volt regulator. But it seems to me that removing the resistors is much safer. Cut the track here and connect the top of the resistor here. Don't be tempted to leave the board as is and connect the SDA and SCL to external pull-ups, as this would increase the LED voltage from 1.8 volts to 3.3 volts, which will damage the MAX30102. Now it's over to TinkerCad to design a case for it. This is my standard design for a bezel that suits a standard ILI 9341 LCD display. The pins on the connector protrude from the left side, and the top cover in green has a cutout the exact shape for a 10-pin header plug, using the display's own pins as the socket. Here I have adapted the bezel into a lid. The MAX30102 goes here with a thin plastic sheet to protect it from moisture. These parts are glued in place to hold the sensor in place securely. This plate sits behind the LCD module to hold it in place when the back is glued. The cutouts are for the components on the board. The main box features a mount for the PCB to snap into, and a cutout for a micro USB breakout to provide the power through a USB cable. Here's a close-up of the case. Note the holes in the mount for the USB breakout. These allow the board to sit flush with the wires poking into the holes. If you want any of the STL files, ask in the comments and I'll send you a copy of the files you need. They can be imported into TinkerCad and grouped into your own projects. Here's the LCD bezel parts. The front panel you see here needed to be redesigned so it differs from the TinkerCad drawings. Here's the front panel pegged together whilst the glue is drying. Note the pins from the LCD module protruding on the left. The bottom 10 pins are all that are needed for the display to work. Here's the LCD, ESP32 and USB power socket connected without the sensor. Here's the sensor fitted into the mounting slot. You can see the protective plastic sheet under it. Here you can see the sensor slightly removed so you can see the spacer plate above it. It was intended to be pressed down using a screw, but it ended up fitting fine without the screw. Here it is fully assembled. The connections to the sensor were made using DuPont pins, which have held in place for 2 years now. Here is a close-up of the connection to the LCD. I have used the bezel design in a number of other projects. Note the instruction screen. It's important to indicate that it is not for medical use. The MAX30102 is being used as a proximity sensor to avoid needing a mode button. These symbols at the top indicate what mode it's in. Currently, it's calculating heart rate. Finger placement and pressure are important, and the graph needs to be rendering between the blue lines for the result to be accurate. It is very fiddly, and in this test I am varying the pressure to show the amount of change. Note the symbol here that indicates when a heartbeat has been detected. As the code is quite complex, I am not covering it in this video. Please leave a comment if you would like a copy and I'll be happy to share it. It's interesting that the professional sensors are just clipped on and work right away. I'm going to suggest that the difference here comes down to better programming and better auto calibration. Mine's just a toy. Now it's a pretty stable result. Now we have selected to calculate the oxygen level. There are now two graphs. One represents red light and one represents infrared light. As with heart rate, it's necessary to get the graph well centered within the blue lines. Because the calculations require a large sample size, the graph sits at the top until it nears the right side, then it drops fairly quickly into the main screen once it has auto-calibrated.